Okay, this is the Drafstars Saturday round 11 analysis for AFL. A few updates to the sheet, a lot of games on today, so we'll get into it. A couple of the updates that were made. I have now just made a little bit of an adjustment here for the value rankings. Also made sure that the players are sorted by value in each of the different categories that they fit: midfielders, defenders, forwards, rucks. Also showing the projected score against their salary here, so it's a bit easier to read and find the highest value in each position now. Got a bit of conditional formatting in here as well, such as if I pick the same player twice, they go red. So that's a bit of a warning, because I was noticing I was accidentally picking the same player twice. But anyway, let's get to the nuts and bolts of it. There's 5 games today. Should be 5. Where is it? There's only 4 here. There's 5. They're just not showing them at the top for some reason. That's fine. So we've got Saints and Hawks, Melbourne Freo, Geelong GWS, Gold Coast Bulldogs, West Coast and Essendon. We speak through those games quickly. We know that St Kilda give up a lot of disposals to defenders, and we'll have a look at this in a moment. We know that Hawthorn gives off a lot of disposals to everyone. Clayton Oliver's out in this Melbourne game, which is an interesting facet. These two teams are a little bit tricky. They're a bit erratic in the way they allow the other team to dispose the ball. The Gold Coast Bulldogs games at TIO, which I believe traditionally is at night. It's greasy, slippery. No one's going to mark the ball, and disposals can be quite low at that ground, so I think we want to stay right away from that one. And West Coast Essendon, these two are loose as a goose. It's free for all. We're going to try and pick as many players from that game as we can. If we have a look at the opposition data for fantasy, what we can see is that the teams in question are highlighted in yellow. So we can see here that Gold Coast has been particularly miserly over the last 4 weeks, aside from last week. We can also see that Fremantle has also really started to lock down the last 3 weeks of fantasy points. We do want to be a little bit careful there. No one sort of really, West Coast has been leeching possessions like crazy, as we saw, so that's where we want to really get into those Essendon players. If we have a look into St Kilda, we can see that at all venues they actually are a high conceding fantasy team, same with Hawthorn, so that's going to be a good game. And as we know, particularly, they cough up a lot of disposals to defenders and midfielders. They actually seem to give a lot of disposals to the stopper. So it basically means every defender is getting more than they usually would at St Kilda, because the stopper is usually defined as a guy who doesn't get much of the ball that often. His main job is to defend. So as we mentioned, we've got to be a little bit careful. So Essendon as well is another one we're looking at. They cough up balls to the midfield, so maybe there's a West Coast midfielder in there if there's some value. Hawthorn giving up disposal to the midfielders as well. Someone like a Merritt could be interesting there. And then we know we've got the likes of Sicily, Bramble, Weddle and those guys against St Kilda in the back line. As I say that, there seems to be 400 people starting to fly over at this moment. So let's have a look. We've got our top 10 rankings here, through from Butler through to Thomas Liberatore. As I mentioned, this guy's a bit skewed. His salary is 6,000. He's got value because he must have had one good game. My sheet does something where it looks at games where a player was a sub and it discounts them from their projection. So we need to be making sure, and similarly Matt Johnson, need to be careful of him. Need to make sure the guy's actually going to play a full game. When Matt Johnson does play a full game, he tends to score about 60, which makes 6,000 good value. However, there's no guarantee. I think he's starting on the interchange. No, he's starting on the field. Okay, as long as he doesn't get subbed off. Yeah, there's the danger, right? This guy will come in for one of the midfielders. So, a little bit circumspect with Matt Johnson. Probably wouldn't put him in every team. So let's start to build. Sam Butler is the first and obvious choice. I'll show you his statistics. Look, I can probably bring him up here actually on my sheet rather than using theirs. Sam Butler, what have you been doing? So this is going to be for disposals. So he's come out and he's got 14 and 16, and he was a sub in the first game. He's been playing as a forward. If we have a look at what Drafstars say about him, again, averaging 53, realistically averaging about 70 though across the last 2 games. Starting to get a bit of the ball. So, good value pick, might be worth taking, and certainly at that price, it definitely helps. So we'll drop him in first. Lockie Bramble's the next one. So, again, Essendon, if we go back to Essendon here, Essendon do give up more disposals to midfielders, and Bramble also will potentially play in that back line. So that's definitely one we want to look at. So I might actually just put him here for the moment. I've got the conditional formatting wrong, but we'll fix that. That's fine. There's a guy who's not on the list that I'm going to put in, which is James Sicily, and this is because we know that St Kilda are going to give up a lot of disposals to the backmen, and he's certainly a key one. There's another guy here who is also not there, which is Josh Weddle. Now he's, again, I'm projecting him at 61. He's 9,000. There's a slight loss of value there. However, he does play in the back line. His form is really improving. In fact, if we just have a look at him, what's he been doing? So you can see there he's definitely on a rise. He had a big game last game. And you can see since Jaff and Scrimshaw have been out, his numbers are starting to increase. So I'm actually going to go against the sheet slightly and put him in the side. So we've got 58,000 left with 11,000 remaining. Might want to move to the rucks. I've had a look through this. There's only really 3 options as far as I'm concerned here. There's either Kieran Briggs is the primary, if you can fit him under salary cap. Rowan Marshall is another pick, to be fair, also, if you've got a lot of money hanging over. I wouldn't be picking Tim English at TIO. It's not a good ground for big men. Then you start to look at guys like Sam De Koning and Lockie Keefe. Now, Lockie Keefe would have been brought in because Haynes and Himmelberg are out. He'll probably play fullback. So I would probably use Sam De Koning I'll just leave him over the side as a sort of backup ruckman if I can't fit Briggs in the team, acknowledging that there's a significant difference in their prices. As we go through the midfield, Will Snelling is the other one before we get there. It's a bit of a choice here between Max King and Will Snelling. I feel a bit more comfortable taking Snelling, just because he's going to get a bit more ball. Max King's a bit hit or miss, so I might make another team later with Max King though. So I'm going to pop Snelling in there and forward. We know that West Coast give up a lot of disposals to both forwards and midfielders. In fact, if we have a look at this, West Coast Eagles increase forwards by 15% and midfielders by 9%. So we definitely want to. I think he's a good pick, Will Snelling, in this one. The only question would be, you might actually swap Butler for King if you're not too hot on Butler. Got to be careful here as well because St Kilda does restrict forward possession, so that's maybe an option there. As we go into the midfield now, interesting one is Jay Gresham. His form is really improving. If we have a look at him on the disposal report, I should add fantasy points into this. You can see here he got subbed out, which is why his numbers are lower. Otherwise, he's sort of getting in the 20s. From a Draftstar perspective, he's likely to score around 90, which is why I have why he has that value there. So we probably want to get Gresham in this team. Okay, yep, 90.7 is his mark. 27,000 remaining. If we have a look through the rest of the midfielders and the rankings, we want to leave Liberatore alone. We don't really want Hobbs. As we go down this list, the name that sticks out to me is, where is he? Should be Jack Steele somewhere here. Where are you, Jack? There we are. Okay, 15,000. He's playing Hawthorn, so should be set for a big game. I want to try and squeeze him in if I can. Otherwise, Well, Jai Newcomb is the other guy actually who I am not going to be able to fit, unfortunately, from the salary cap perspective. But pop him over there just so I remember him. Okay, Jager O'Meara. That might actually fit. Jager O'Meara. Oh, 270, of course. So I'm going to need someone at about 12,000 even. We'll go through the list. Don't really want Jaden Hunt. Fiorini, projected at 84. Why is that? What's he been doing? Yeah, okay. He's just starting to play again. Nothing special. I need to be at 12,000. Ed Langdon got out, but not really. Actually, I don't want Angus Brayshaw because he might actually go into the midfield, which could be worse. So we really don't want that to happen. Perryman's an interesting one because Kelly is out. Let's just have a look at his form. He might be one to squeeze in, but we are moving away from the value picks here. He's probably going to get around 80. Sort of need to make a decision here. Because what we can do, as I mentioned before, is we can go with Sam De Koning here. And then that really opens up this spot for... Can I get him? Damn it. Can't quite get Merritt in. Who can I get in? What have I got left to spend? We've got 15-8. Don't want Liberatore. Okay, Matt Rowell has been... No, I don't want to touch that game though. Even though it's probably a good game for him. He's an on-ground player, but gotta be a little bit careful. I know who to pick here. It's the other Jack. Jack Sinclair. Okay, we can grab him. He's been a bit up and down. However, certainly came good there. Had a couple of games here where he's a bit flat. Adelaide and North Melbourne probably didn't really give a shit in this game, to be quite honest. But definitely he's one that's got a lot of upside. So I might. So this team here is projected at 753, which is not bad. If I just built another team which was basically every the highest value player everywhere, I might leave him out and go with Snelling and King. Okay, let's say Matt Johnson actually gets a run. Gresham. Bramble. Can I do this? Oh yeah. Okay, so that team's projected at 768. I've still got 2,000 left. That might involve the up. Oh, here we go. I think that's 900 short. That would have been a real good team. Okay, so there is a way to do this. It is Butler here, or it's not Sicily here. Powell, don't want to touch that guy. Mason Redmond. Okay. Now, they are playing West Coast. Hopefully the ball actually goes down there, but that's actually a pretty solid team in itself. I might give that one a run too. I don't really like the Steel double up, but it is a good team they're playing against. So there's basically an example of okay. This is probably a third team to make here, but this is how the new sheet's working. I'll let you know how it goes.